Welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio. I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. And when I started this show in 2008, I was on a mission to promote women-owned businesses and help women succeed by providing resources and valuable tips from other women and men, small business owners. In each interview, my guests speak openly about their triumphs, the scary times, and tough decisions they had to make along the way. Women Entrepreneurs Radio is about showing women how to harness their natural strengths to achieve success on their own terms. Hi everyone, welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio. I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. I'm so glad you could join me today. And if you're listening to this on Podomatic, you can also hear it on iTunes. It's on Spotify, iHeartRadio. There are several platforms. You can go to womenentrepreneursecrets.com and click on podcast in the menu, and you'll see different links for different platforms the show is on. Also, you will see a link for the show guidelines. So if you're interested in being a guest, that's a good place to go and download those and check that out. And also, if you love what you've heard, please stop by iTunes and leave a review of the show. That's always good for the show to be found by more listeners. So if you took a few minutes to do that, it's much appreciated. And if you want to find out more about me and my coaching and my books, you can go to dbaileycoach.com, and there's blog posts and different things there of interest. Particularly about some book coaching that I've been doing. So you can find out more about that on the site. And also my fiction site is brightstreetbooks.com. And you can go there and find out more about those books. And there's also links so that you can buy a copy or two if you like that genre. And I hope you do. So we're going to get started today with my guest. Karinna Karsten is well established as an authority in the dating industry and helps people improve their relationship lives. She's the CEO and founder of Love TV, and an upcoming app called Relationship AI, which will revolutionize the way people make relationship decisions. Starting her career as an international model and elite look of the Year Finalist, she started traveling the world before discovering her passion for human connection and emotions. As a celebrity relationship advisor, she appeared in major publications like Cosmopolitan, Self, Women's Health, and networks like CNN, NBC, and OK. So welcome to the show, Karinna. I'm so glad to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Deb. I am so excited to talk to you.
Yeah, like I was saying before we start with the show, just really excited to hear more about what you're working on. And of course, this is a topic that I think will be popular for everyone. It always is. So, I can't wait to hear more. But right now, before we get started, if you could share a little bit about how you decide to do the work that you're doing right now. What was your journey?
I would love to share that with you. Well, like every journey, sometimes you don't even know where it starts.
Yes.
But it's your journey. And, I love to tell people that it was a process for me. I was very fortunate from the age of 17 to live and work around the world as an international model. With elite models, and then subsequently as a relationship expert and entrepreneur. And my passion and fascination with relationships and intimacy was fueled by my time living and working in different cultures. I found it interesting when people partnered, they would have certain cultural similarities to us as Americans, and others, they were very different. For instance, living in Japan, you didn't see a lot of hand holding and making out on the streets, but yet the Japanese having that the deep rituals of service and practices of Zen and tea ceremony. Those things are deeply cultural, and they come out in their intimate life. And so even though you didn't see it on the street, it did happen behind closed doors, a level of intimacy that was very beautiful. So that was what really grabbed me. And I had several revelations that spoke to me, to say, I want to go back to the U.S. and I want to focus my career on helping women and men create their best relationship life. And in that they can share power. Because I think that it's, for me, one of the most important pieces of quality relationship is that both individuals have an empowered inner core, and that they can share their power together. And so that's a little bit of the narrative of how it all began.
Wow, that's great. And I guess that's one of the things about traveling and going to different places and seeing different cultures, experiencing them, and really getting a sense of, I guess, just being open and learning, and just the way you can see other human interaction can really teach you so much, I think, and really open up your world a lot. So I think that's so interesting what you're saying. And that's something that I hope a lot of people listening also have the opportunity to travel and just have those experiences. I think that is really something that opens up your world completely. So, I really want to ask, of course, we'll start about your app.
Yes.
I really want to ask about that. So what is the Relationship AI app about?
So Relationship AI helps you date smarter. Think of it as a personal CRM to increase the ROI on your dating life. And we're used to tracking fitness metrics, how many steps we walk, or what calories we're intaking. We do this in our businesses. We measure different statistics to see what are our next choices that would be best for our business. But what I realized actually through listening and learning to our users at Love TV was there really wasn't a real-time tool that helped you evaluate your dating activity and make better decisions. And so that's what we have gone about creating, and we'll launch here this fall too. And so we're very excited about helping daters to realize successful outcomes from their dating.
Wow, I think that will help a lot of people to be much happier.
Yes. More love.
Yes, definitely. And, since you're talking about this app that really is going to help people with this, how does this all affect dating when we're in this kind of situation where everything is an app? How does this affect everybody in terms of how they're interacting and how they can really find the people that they want to find? What do you think the effects are?
Well, I want to first start by saying that we live in a very, very interesting time in history. I mean, there's more places both online and offline to meet your match than ever before. And this provides an unparalleled opportunity to truly connect. So I think that where people get stuck, is feeling like they can't manage the experience of online dating, that it feels overwhelming. that the kinds of interactions that they may be having are underwhelming, that they are spending time and can't really measure how well they're doing. One of the questions I often ask singles is how do you gauge whether you are progressing in your relationship life? And I usually get a big blank.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's very telling.
Wow. Okay.
Very telling, because if you don't have any kind of indicators for yourself of how well this is progressing, then it's very hard to, make strong, informed decisions for your relationship life.
That's true though, because if you're not really even sure where things stand, and what you want, and there's so many questions that people have, of course.
Exactly. And often, Deb, we tend to point our finger at, oh, there's just no good matches for me.
Right.
And so you spend so much time swiping and judging, like, is this person good enough for me, or, for me to spend any time engaging with. And that is certainly part of the equation. Mm-hmm. However, what's really, really important also is to spend your own time developing your own aptitude and your own discernment. Mm-hmm. And that actually gives you clarity and confidence for relationship building.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's true, because you do hear about the negatives all the time. Definitely. And, you get together people and they're usually griping about the situation, and they don't know how to find whoever, and there's no one out there. Of course we hear that all the time. So it tends to discourage people, I think, from using these things, or just feeling like they're going to find someone who lines up with what they are looking for.
And yet every day there's weddings happening from people who meet on dating apps, and and that's really exciting, and everyone has their own unique journey to that process for themselves. When I talk to individuals that did meet their match and have created a sustainable relationship life from them, what I find is that they are pretty clear about what they want, and they are very focused. And so it really boils down to your intentions, your behaviors, and your decisions that you're making in pursuit of finding and building your love life.
Well, that's good to hear, because I think a lot of people don't really look at it that way, at least the ones who seem to always be griping about it. Right. They seem like, well, they don't know how they're always meeting the wrong person. Well, what are you doing on your end, that may be part of that. So I think a lot of times they don't always look at it from that perspective.
Right. And I think we grew up in the Disney reality of relationships.
Mm-hmm. Well,
there's going to be a Prince Charming. Right. Yeah, there's going to be a Prince Charming. Right. And these narratives actually challenge our adult minds. Mm-hmm. And same for men, because men can have that ideal of what a woman is that is often a kind of a cartoon or caricature what a woman is. Mm-hmm. So each masculine and feminine can come to like looking outwardly for their ideal mate from perceptions that may not be real. And so I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes in, and not knowing how to actually discern like what what is actually true value for me.
That's a good point. It's all the things that we're bombarded with throughout life, I think, and the conditioning and what we're told we're supposed to want, as opposed to what a person may really want.
Yes.
Yeah. That's very true, though, and I think that it takes a lot to step back and look at that. So, what are your thoughts on millennials and dating? How is that different?
Well, we actually address a millennial audience. Our work is appropriate for any demographic, but millennials and Gen Z are certainly digital natives. So they are more, more accustomed to working with different digital tools. And I find that millennials have very high criteria for dating, and they wait a lot longer to actually choose someone. So where someone over the age of a millennial may decide to date for 2 years, a millennial often will date for 4 or 5 years. That's just kind of a snapshot of differences. I feel that we're in an interesting time because there's a huge rise for baby boomers in dating. That's actually a very active demographic. And there's a lot of success stories. So it really depends on your inner orientation of how are you coming at this, and what is your criteria for success? And sometimes criteria you'll never be able to meet. Because we focus on unsustainable values. And I really, really want singles, no matter what demographic that you're in, is to focus on the sustainable values. EQ, consistency, kindness, generosity, things that are very important to sustaining a relationship. Character, aptitude for relationship.
Because if you really don't have that, how are things going to progress?
Correct. Correct. But you would be surprised that those can be secondary or third or fourth on the list. And so we want to bring those more forefront to our users' awareness.
That's true. I think also people don't realize that, communication skills are very important. So you're not prizing things like that.
Yes.
The rest of it really, it doesn't matter as much,
Well, we go through things in life, we go through challenges, and that may, sway our weight, sway, the way we look, sway our career path. So there's so many things that happen in one's life and in a couple's life that can change. Changes really are only constant. And so embracing those, the core elements that are really sustainable values is actually going to take you so much further down the lane than focusing on the unsustainable values.
And I think that when you're at a certain point in life, you definitely are looking at them differently, because after you've been through some things in life and had experiences, there are certain qualities that you're going to appreciate maybe now that before you would have overlooked, because that wasn't exciting or whatever.
Right. Exactly. Again, back to that Disney, Disney Prince Charming.
Right.
Yes. Absolutely. And you certainly should have fun and have, celebration and adventure. I mean, that's just part of a quality life, period.
Right.
So you have to find that, and different in couples, sometimes one person has it way more than the other person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and,
Mm-hmm.
and that, can be challenging. It can be
Mm-hmm.
challenging, but you've got to find your own outlets. You've got to find either your friends that you can do those things with, or, a group,
Mm-hmm.
etc. And then you come together with your partner for the things that really are where you do sync up.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think projecting onto our partner that they have to solve every single and fill every single need we have is a mistake.
Right.
It really separates us rather than brings us together.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I think that a lot of times that happens too. I think when you're younger, maybe I can speak for myself, it's again, you have that, I guess, again, the Disney Prince influence, and you're thinking, oh, this person is going to be all things in all ways.
Yes.
And then as you get a little older, I'm not saying everybody goes through those transitions and suddenly starts to look at it differently, but then you start to go, oh, okay, well, I have this here that I do. I have these friends that I, I have this other thing. This person doesn't have to fill every slot.
Yes.
For me to, feel fulfilled in this. It's not necessary, and it isn't possible really for one person to be able to do all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it takes time, I think, before you see that.
It does. And that's what we are really focused on, is helping speed up self-awareness. And so that you feel clear, you feel confident, you feel empowered to make your best relationship choices.
Right. I think that's important. Definitely the empowerment part has to be really important for people, that they don't feel like they're kind of in this thing and they can't control it. And again, going back to there's no one out there for me, because they don't feel like they have any power.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, because women are amazing in so many ways, from cooking to running Fortune 500 businesses. Right. I mean, it's just amazing. And I think that what happens though is our time is so precious. And so if we are wanting to connect, we have to devote some quality time to it. We have to make that a priority. And people that make it a priority, actually, it works out for them. It really does. And you may kiss a few frogs. But you can have fun doing it. You can have fun doing it.
Yeah, they're going to be out there. They're going to be out there. So it's part of the game, I think. If you could just kind of enjoy the process of that, and not think everyone you meet is going to be the Prince Charming, then you could definitely just kind of enjoy the process that you're going through.
Yes. And just imagine, it's like as I'm working in my business, I learn so much every single day based on what I don't know. That what I don't know, what I don't understand, gives me the richest experiences every single day. And I may get frustrated. I may not. I may call a few people and go, how do I do this? But it gives me such a rich experience to learn and find my way through it. And the same goes for relationships. You do need support. You do need tools to actually be effective, and you do need to put your time in. You absolutely do need to put your time in.
That's true. That's true. You really have to do that, not just assume that they're somehow going to work out without your participation, which some people seem to think.
All the time.
It just, somehow it just happens without, you actively having to to roll up your sleeves a little bit. So yeah, I think that's something we've all thought at one time or another and about it until you kind of learn, as you said, you learn about it and then you understand how you can do better. But you went from a model to an entrepreneur, and how was that transition?
It was good.
Mhm.
I went for focusing on the things that were most interesting to me.
Mhm.
And I dove in for a long time into understanding world culture,
Mhm.
world religions, world narratives, around relationships
Mhm.
and personal development. And those things really kept, exciting me.
Mhm.
And so after many years of study and, it just emerged. I'd say the first way it emerged is I hosted a all women's salon in New York City. I lived in New York at the time.
Mhm.
And I hosted that for 3 years, once a month, and, brought in, speakers. I, brought in different artists and we, discussed and talked and created together around relationships, around hormones, around,
Mhm.
all the things that are important to women,
Mhm.
creativity, career, mindfulness. And that's where it all kind of got going. And then I would be asked to speak at different organizations, like NYU and others, entrepreneurs organization. And now I'm fortunate to fly other places in the world and speak to their organizations. So,
Mhm.
but it started like that. It was a very organic process.
And that sounds like your previous experiences really helped you to. It sounds to me like really flow into this one.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. As I mentioned, lovetv.co is actually our digital content site.
Mhm.
So it's for singles as well as couples.
Mhm.
And focusing on creative content that's, relevant to you at any stage of relationship.
Mhm.
And learning first of all how to run a company like that, a digital media company, which
Mhm.
was a big deal.
Mhm.
But also what was important to the people that came to us. What were they looking for to support them in their love lives?
Mhm.
What did they need? And out of that, out of real relationship, with our users came relationship AI.
So, what are your thoughts on you being a successful entrepreneur, being a woman in the tech industry, which is as people would think of that as being a male dominated industry. And I know there's a lot of women in there, but it's kind of like the popular view of it is definitely male dominated. What are your thoughts about looking at where you are now?
Oh, what a question. Can we sit and drink a glass of wine and talk about this for 2 hours?
Of course.
All right, let's do it. I'm coming over.
Of course.
So I think we are living in such an extraordinary time where while there are industries that are still dominated by certain demographics,
Mhm.
there's also a real opening to women. And for women, it's like we're not taking no for an
Mhm.
answer.
Mhm.
We're carving our own paths. We are utilizing the tools that are out here for us. And I think that the creative spark is so alive for women that we discover how we are here to play. And so I feel very fortunate to be able to utilize the tools of media and technology to further my intention of building smarter relationships.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that's great because a lot of times, as I was saying, the perceptions of certain industries may make people feel like, oh, I can't really enter that, or I don't see my place there. But it really should not stop you because, particularly about the tech industry, I'm having to talk with other women who are in it. It's not that you can't create your space there, but it just may, as I said, the popular view, that we may see in the media may show something else, but that's not really the case. And something like tech, which is so expansive and I mean, how can you really just say, oh, we're just going to close all these other people out of it?
Absolutely.
You can't.
You can't. And there's this grassroots movement that has been started to teach young people how to actually code. There's lots of girl organizations, which I love. Girls that code, Black girls that code. I love these organizations because it's like, we're going for it.
Yes, definitely.
And it's super, I actually met a woman, entrepreneur who just took a company public, which is amazing. And she started as a coder.
Wow.
That's how she did it. And
wow.
I was just so, and she had no idea what she was doing starting a business. None. And that's the thing, is that if we have the spark and one of the things she said, don't give up. If you keep at it, like, a dog with a bone, you will find your way. You may have to have a side job while you're doing that, but at the same time, you will find your way. And so I think that the doors are open, but we have to open them for ourselves as well.
Right. I totally agree. And that's one of the interesting things about the tech industry, is that so much of it people can do and learn on their own. And they're, people creating things, I guess, all over the world, you could say. They're putting things together. So there's no way that you can say, well, this is only the entrance here. It's impossible. And I think that's really exciting, that there's a lot of opportunity for anybody who says, I have this idea and I want to expand on it. It's really a good thing, because that's only going to advance everything else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's the way that, we have to think about that. So, could you please share, Karinna, where everybody can find you, and also, any social media or anything that, you also want them to know about.
Okay. So our website is relationship-ai.com, and you can find out about our new app, and it will be, if you sign up for the email, we'll let you know when it's released, which is coming up soon. And then if you are in a relationship and you're not dating, or you are dating as well, you can visit lovetv.co. With lots of digital content that's relevant. And lastly, you can find me on social media at Karinna Karsten, and that's it.
That's great too, that you can put all these things together online. And it's another thing. It's like before, you may have had to hire a bunch of people, you may have had to, I don't know, get on TV or whatever the bar of entry was, but now people can be online, they can be on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, on their own website, and they can create content that people around the world can be a part of. It's just a totally different thing now.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
And thank you for your offering with this podcast. This is a wonderful offering for women entrepreneurs.
Well, thank you very much. And, like we talked earlier, I just wanted to, meet other, entrepreneurs who I knew were out there. I just wanted to know who they were and what they were about, because, yet again, what I saw in the media was just such a limited amount of people and always
Yes.
people who are just making the most money and at
Yes.
the very, very, very top. And it's like, well, I know there are other people out here. Where are they?
Absolutely.
Where are they? Why aren't I hearing about them? And the thing is, they are out here, and that's a great thing when you start to meet them and talk to them and find out that it is more than you may think. And I also didn't want people to be discouraged by thinking, well, if I can't be at this other level, why should I bother? Because those people usually didn't start out up there either.
Of course.
They had to start someplace to get to that point. So it's just definitely to encourage others as well. And this is really fantastic. As I said, I think that app is such a great idea, and hopefully there'll be less people griping about not finding their person.
Well, optimizing that swiping.
So they'll be able to really get to the real good relationships and feel a lot better about them as opposed to being discouraged.
Absolutely.
About,
and women deserve them.
yes.
Really good relationships.
Yes, that's so true.
Absolutely.
I definitely agree with that. So, we really, really need to be able to connect with those folks that we want to be with and that really enhance your life. I think that's a great idea. So this is certainly something I think everybody will be looking out for. I think, so hopefully that'll be, as you said, coming up really soon. So,
absolutely.
Karinna, we've had a wonderful conversation. So
thank you so much, Deb. Any
final thoughts before we wrap up?
I would just encourage women who have a creative spark for starting a business to, if anything, go to a local business meeting of some sort. It could be a chamber of commerce. It could be a salon for entrepreneurs, and just start to dip your toe in it. Mm-hmm. Because when you do that, you find that, you're not alone. Mm-hmm. And you can find resources to support you, even if it's just a buddy, to bounce ideas off of. And I think you will have a great experience starting your own business.
Mm-hmm. That's perfect. Definitely. I think that's a great suggestion. And, for those people listening who haven't really made that leap yet, then I hope is great encouragement for you to take the next step. So as I say, Karinna, this was a wonderful conversation. I'm really excited to hear about this technology and romance and relationships and all that good stuff. About time that we were able to put all this together and have it be something really good for us. So I'm really excited for that and for you. And I want to thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you. Thank you, Deb. It was a delight to talk to you.
Yes, same here. Everyone, I know you enjoyed this and you want to hear more. So definitely, I will have the information, of course, in the show notes and Karinna's link, and you can go find out more about the app when it comes up, and also check out her website and all the information that she has on there. And please definitely share this with your friends. Share it on social media. Really glad if you could do that. And thanks again for joining us today. So once again, it's been Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us. You can also join in the conversation on Facebook.com/Women Entrepreneurs and on the website, WomenEntrepreneurSecrets.com. And don't forget to listen in on dvcoach.podomatic.com and on iTunes.